Well, welcome to everyone who is watching this Zoom recording that I have uploaded to YouTube so that we can share it, and please feel free to share it. My name is Andrea Hylen. I am the founder of Heal My Voice, and Beth Terrence is here on the Zoom call also. We are in collaboration around a program that's been under the Heal My Voice umbrella since 2015, when Beth and I decided to bring our love of writing, our desire to support healing together, and brought our skill set together in this collaboration. And we've been doing this program once or twice a year since 2015. It's kind of under the umbrella of Writing to Heal, 30 Days of Writing. And this time we're calling it Release the Past, Embrace the Future. Or Releasing the Past, Embracing the Future, I think is what it's
Feeling the past, embracing the future.
All right. So again, they're just words, the bottom line. I would like to do a little bit of a centering exercise, but before I do that, I'm just going to say to everyone, the word healing is sometimes charged for people. There's they get triggered, or they'll say, well, I don't have anything to heal. And I would say that living on planet Earth as a human being, that we have experiences all the time where there is change, there is loss, there is shifting. We're required to be flexible, patient, take risks. And with that, every time you expand, every time you stretch into something, or you have a change in your life, it requires a period of healing something, of feeling the feelings. So healing is, kind of the buzzword that we use, but it's really about taking some time to reflect on what's going on in your life, what you are feeling, and giving you time to gain some new awareness about that. All right, with those few words, let's just take a moment and take a few deep breaths together. Whatever's going on in your life, just realize that this few moments to feel centered, to pause, to feel some stillness, to just stop for a moment. And in this brief pause of a few minutes, feel your feet flat on the ground so that you can really feel a connection to the earth, a connection to something solid under your feet. And at the same time, just place your attention on the top of your head. Just imagine that you're feeling the top of your head, you're looking at the top of your head. And taking a few deep breaths. Imagine that the top of your head is just opening. It's just an open energetically. Let's just call in an energy, a healing energy of light. Notice what color you feel the light is. Just sense it. What's the first thing that comes to you? Is the light white, gold, green? Whatever that is, just know that that is for you and it is perfect, whatever it is. And then breathe in that light and just imagine that it's coming in through the top of your head. And it's going to go all the way through your body, picking up any kind of tension or stress, or worry, any words you want to put on it, fear, anger, frustration. Keep breathing. Maybe it's fatigue, it's sadness. Just let that light go all the way down through your body, through your belly, through your legs, and all the way down, so that all of that tension and stress just goes right out the bottom of your feet and into the earth. And taking a few more deep breaths. And when you feel complete, you can open your eyes and be with Beth and myself here in this space. Okay, Beth, why don't you just continue sharing from what I started and bring in the energy of autumn.
Thank you. Thanks for that. I really needed that today. It seems like this time of year seems to get so busy and so full for me, and I know for a lot of people that I'm interacting with, and so taking that pause feels really good. So thanks. Wanted to just expand a little bit on when we came together for this program. In 2015 was the first time that we did the program, particularly in the autumn and around the theme of healing, loss, and grief and transformation. And it's really a time of year where in many traditional cultures and in Chinese medicine, those emotions and energies are more present, and we could see the shift in nature. Although it's been a little slow this year here on the East Coast, but this last week or so, it seems like the colors of autumn are coming in, the cooler weather. We just changed the clock today, so the days are really seeming shorter and darker. And so there is sort of a natural shift in energy, of going more within. And if we think about even just the energy of the harvest, of gathering kind of what we've grown this year, and then what the farmers do is they kind of till the fields before and clear off the dead growth and everything to let it sit over the winter. And that's very much what we're doing as we're beginning to go into winter. We're sort of preparing our own field. So taking some time to really look at our gifts and what we're thinking of letting go of. In terms of Chinese medicine, they talk about the lung and large intestine being connected to this season, and the meridians that are connected to the energy of metal, which can have to do emotionally with loss and grief. And so that those organs really physically and energetically have to do with kind of taking in and letting go. And so there's sort of a natural rhythm that, in our modern culture, we tend to disconnect from. But it can really help us if we harmonize with those natural energies. And, we just passed this week the time where in many traditional cultures, they talk about the veils being the thinnest between this world and the world of spirit, or the unseen world. And so it is often seen as a time to honor our ancestors and our loved ones who've passed. Many people experience that as memories just bubbling up to the surface. Sometimes our ancestors come in our dreams. And so it's a time where that in and of itself can stir some of those feelings of sadness and loss, and also just be an opportunity to kind of reconnect with our roots, to maybe honor those ancestors. And sometimes we do, we live in a culture where we tend to just sort of have a pervading belief that you should just sort of have a loss, kind of go through a period of grief and then be done with it. And that's really not how most of us experience loss and grief. It kind of comes in circles and cycles and layers. And so we really felt, and I think from my experience and Andrea's experience too, just that this is a time where those energies are so much at the surface. So it's a fruitful time to really, go into that a little bit and explore ourselves. And in terms of our theme for this year, really like taking some time to heal some of those places or spaces in us that might be ready to maybe let go of some of those feelings, or maybe even just gain some deeper understanding about ourselves and our experiences. And it's in that willingness to go within and look that we then really, create that space for our next steps, which as we lead into winter can really be a place of we move towards that deep listening and guidance for what seeds we might plant in the spring. So for me, writing has been a powerful healing tool. And so using that is a way to really help connect and kind of listen. And I found it was kind of interesting just in the last couple of weeks. I connected with two of my cousins who I hadn't seen in a long time, one in a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and one who I hadn't seen in 20 years. And it was just spontaneous. She happened to be in town for a wedding and texted me, and we met. But I could feel in both of those interactions, talking about some of our family who have passed, and particularly my grandmother, who I was just very close with, and it's just kind of a light being, I would say, and I could really feel her presence with us, and so she's coming in other ways at other times, in dreams and memories, but just those conversations really stirred those feelings for me this year. So that's just an example of how sometimes these things can show up in our lives. And so part of this 30-day journey is taking time to connect with those feelings of loss and grief, some of our memories or losses we might want to look at, which may be a loss in terms of a death, but there's many other kinds of losses that we experience in our lives, even just a positive life change, such as having a baby or getting a new job. There's a loss in terms of what our life looked like. So those transitions, that's the other aspect of this time, is kind of honoring our transitions, looking at where we are and maybe where we want to be, and using the tools of writing and reflection and sharing in community to support that and nurture us. So we're excited to begin our journey together.
I am too. I want to also share that yes, and I know we have just completed the 9-month program that has been a part of Heal My Voice since 2011. And that's the last time offering it. And it's a program that's taken a tremendous amount of energy and care. And all of a sudden it's like a child who's going to college or something, where all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what about without this? So even though it's been a very conscious decision to end that, just like we have endings, we may decide to move, we decide to switch jobs, things like that. There's still a letting go. There's still the releasing of something to bring in something new. And so as we were using the example of different types of transitions that we go through. But the other thing, and it's the thing that I see missing the most when I'm talking with clients or I'm reading Facebook posts or seeing what's happening in the world, the thing I feel like we're really missing is being proactive with our emotions. Mm-hmm. And really spending some time cultivating that awareness and connection to what we're really feeling. And so what it looks like is, I mean, think about someone who doesn't take care of their physical health. They eat crappy food. They never exercise. They ignore the symptoms that they're having in their physical body, and it becomes a crisis, and it becomes a health crisis. The same thing happens with our emotions, where when we just keep going along in our lives and we don't take the time to really stop and feel, there are these moments where we feel in crisis. And it can actually be something that you feed off of. It can become an addiction to be in these highs of like intense and their problems and everything else. But whether you're in a relationship, you have a job where you're cultivating more of your skills and talents, taking time to pause and reflect is just part of good mental health care, care of your emotions. I just notice in conversations. So it's become really evident to me to really emphasize this point that come in and do this program with us, or create something yourself in a support, like find something where you're actually pausing. And this can be a really busy time. When, if you're someone who does a lot with the holidays and, maybe you're the one who's cooking the Thanksgiving meal, or you're organizing people, or you're doing, holiday gift donation type things. You've adopted a few families, you're gathering gifts, you've got your own family, it's like, oh, and then this holiday's coming, or you're traveling. There can be such a busyness to actually not even feel what is going on in your life. So I feel like Beth and I have made this a really easy program to come in when you have time, use the prompt as something, the writing prompts, and we'll go into some of the details here, but to just use it as a 5-minute check-in with yourself, or to have a place to speak in community. So, Beth, do you want to go over the details of the program?
Yeah. And I just wanted to add on or expand on what you shared a little bit back in kind of relation to the energy of this time. Because if we look at energy and go back to sort of Chinese medicine and their concept of yin and yang, and so the summer was the most expansive time, and winter's or yang, and the winter becomes the most yin time or inner time. And so we're in this transition now where the energy is going from out here coming in to that most inner place. And just in terms of the feelings of intense emotion and overwhelm, it's like there's a natural contraction happening here at this time of year. And so it can get very intense for people. And then with the busyness, I just think it can easily lead sometimes to overwhelm and exhaustion. And so it's probably always a good time, to kind of build these practices of tuning in. But now is a very potent time, in terms of wellness and self-care, even in terms of our physical health, going into the winter, slowing down and listening. And processing some of what we experience is so important. However, there's many ways. This program is one way to do that, and we'll share within the program some different tools. But to find that way to listen and just honor that transition within yourself, I think is so important. So I just want to really encourage people to find ways to do that. So in terms of our program, it's called Healing the Past, Embracing the Future. It's a 30-day virtual Writing to Heal program, and we've done several of these, as we mentioned, with this theme and some other themes at different times throughout the year. So there's 30 days of daily writing prompts, which will happen starting on November 7th. And we do have a secret Facebook group for members who join. as a way to connect in community. We post the prompts there and people have a chance to share their writing or reflections. And we spent some time over the last few days as the group's coming together, beginning to set intentions for this time. We will have a weekly telegathering on Zoom, such as we're doing now, with anybody who'd like to attend live or via replay. That'll be available. And we will be, both Andrea and I will be sharing some additional tools, some guided meditations, some shamanic journeys to once again kind of help tune in and listen, to work with some of the emotions and energy that we're experiencing. And in these programs, and in particularly the Heal My Voice programs, we talk about it being a little bit like a vision quest that someone might do for themselves. And in traditional culture, someone goes out into nature for a period of time. They may fast, they may pray, and ask for guidance or wisdom, connecting with spirit. And so here, this is, a way of doing sort of a more inner vision quest without changing necessarily all of your physical experience to connect. You don't have to necessarily leave your life, drop everything, but it's using writing as the vehicle as much as other methods that, we might bring in or that you might use, because you have personal practices already possibly, and that's something you can incorporate, but using the writing as a way to really connect with yourself, to listen, to honor your transitions in life, and also set some intentions for those changes that you want to bring in. So I think in a way it's a way to come back to center with the different tools that we're sharing, and also again within a community, because we really, it's something in some ways we kind of lack in our culture unless we choose to cultivate that community. And so having other people listen, and as we're getting honest about our feelings, we're beginning to let some things go, being witnessed, being able to share and know that other people have these experiences too, can be a very big support in terms of healing and change. So I think, was there anything I missed, Andrea, about the program?
No, I feel like that's it. And really a lot of what happens, because Beth and I create this program, basically it's new every single time we do it, because we're really tuning into what's happening in the group also, and whether someone says something or things just happen organically, like things cross our paths, a book that we might pick up, and all of a sudden there's a quote in it that inspires a conversation. So the whole idea of the writing prompts is, Beth and I both, in a sense, write little mini blog posts every day, because we usually take a quote or something that's inspired us and we write some thoughts about it. And so it's a great place to connect, and the community energy is it's an energetic. That's what I'm just going to say. It's an energetic. There's something that happens. It's always amazing to see kind of the subtle layers that show up and realize these connections that we have that we might not have even seen on the surface. This time also, we've opened up the program to women and men. So I just wanted to say that we have a mix in the group, and we all experience grief, loss, change, shifting, harvesting, reaping these new ideas and all. And so there was a quote, actually, I know we talked beforehand, Beth, but there was a quote actually that I read from the Year of Magical Thinking. I just watched a documentary, a memoir about Joan Didion, who wrote the book, The Year of Magical Thinking, after her husband died. And one of the things she said in that book was, I write entirely to find out what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at, what I see, and what it means, what I want and what I fear. It's like this pausing where we basically take the words. The first week is tuning in. The second week is listening. The third week, we go a little deeper with discovering. And the fourth week, we go into exploring. And whatever happens, there is a level of stillness here, there's a level of curiosity, and what's going to happen, we have a plan, and things always change in the group.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to respond to what's actually happening in the group. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Beth and I are recording this on Zoom, and it's uploaded to YouTube, and there is a link to the Eventbrite link on how to register for this program. We encourage you to go check it out. Anything else, Beth?
I don't think so. I just hope you'll join us if you're feeling called to, and just remember, to take some time to explore what's arising for you, the feelings, emotions, any memories, or visits from your ancestors. Now is a good time to, however you choose to do that. But we hope those of you who feel a stir from our conversation will come and join us for this exploration.
Great. Thank you. All right. And thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.